Okay, so I look up in the table and I don't see 0.6000. Instead, I see 0.6026 and 0.5987, and it would fall between them. And the question is, how far away is it from each? Well, the one here on the right, it's 0.0026 away. The one here on the left, it's 0.0013 away. Subtract if you wondered how I got it. So I'm going to use this one because it's closer. So I'll look up the z-score for that one, which was 0.25. So now I have a z-score and it makes sense. It's positive. I always want to double check that. If I'd gotten a negative, I would have had to scratch my head. And so I don't want to know the z-score. I want to know how many days. So it's a days question. So in other words, I need to know the x value because x, excuse me, is number of days. So again, I'm going to use my z-score formula because I think I have everything to plug into that except for x. So let's see, z is 0.25. I don't know the x. I know mu, and I know sigma. And so work that out with your math magic and see what you get for x. Hopefully you got that number. Again, leave it. If it bothers you, then you can round to 337 days. Probably should put the label on it. Be a good idea. Okay, next question. So again, I've drawn my bell. This time 15% lasts less than a certain number of days. So here's 15% are less than whatever this line is. So I got to figure out what's the x for that line. And again, I can go look up 1500 in the table to get the z-score. I'm just going to take a wild guess that it's between two numbers, but go look it up. Hopefully you found those two numbers and it sits between, and so it's only 0.008 away from that, but it's 0.0015 away from that, so closer to this. So I'm going to write down the z-score, which is negative 1.04, and now to get to my x, again, I still use my magic standardizing formula. So I'm going to write it out again so I remember what goes in here. And so I've got negative 1.04. I don't know x. I know mu and sigma. And then I'll do some math magic to get my x value. And I get 332.88. Again, I leave it, and then if I want to, I write or 333 days. Okay, next question. And so I've drawn my bell and I've shaded birth defects born at 325. Since it wants to know what percent are born this early, I'm really looking at all the foals that are born less than that, because I couldn't find if I do exactly 325 days. So if I were to write this, I would be looking at the number that are less than or equal to 325. I could even do purely less than, because if you remember the other day, we can't find the area at a line. It has no thickness. Even though I'm drawing it super thick, there's no area there. So there's no difference between less than or equal to or less than. And so again, I have to find my z-score and then go look up the area. So there's my z-score, negative 3.67. And now I'm going to look up the area for that in the table. Oh, wait a minute. The table doesn't go that high. So I say, ooh, it must be a really small percent because the smallest percent in the table is 0.02. So I'm just going to say that it's less than 0.02. And again, if I write it as a percent, it would be less than 2%. And that's how you treat the values that go off the table. See you on the next video, statisticians.